Or do you see risk that further labor market cooling will have to come through job losses?
So on the job creation, it depends on the inflows, right? So if you're having millions of people come into the labor force, and you're creating 100,000 jobs, you're going to see unemployment go up. So it really depends on what's the trend underlying the volatility of people coming into the country. We understand there's been quite an influx across the borders, and that has actually been one of the things that's allowed unemployment rate to rise. And the other thing is just the slower hiring rate, which is something we also watch carefully. So it does depend on what's happening on the supply side.
So that was Jerome Powell, the chair of the Federal Reserve, talking about how the Biden administration, how they've brought in these millions of illegal immigrants, has had a huge detriment on the unemployment numbers because the migrants are coming in and taking American jobs. And the amount of jobs we can create, which may at the uppermost be 100,000, cannot compare to the millions of people they bring in every year. We can't keep up. We don't have that many jobs. And so that is having a huge effect on unemployment because they come in, you can fit 10 of them to a room, and they're willing to work for half as much as Americans under the table or even just the bare minimum, which Americans can't afford to work for. Even if they were wanting to, they can't afford it because they don't get the government subsidies that these people do. And the cost of living is just increasing. For the American lifestyle of, maybe having your own bedroom, totally out of the question to be able to live on lower wages than what people are already getting. So this is an absolutely kind of horrendous admission for the Biden administration that this massive consequence is coming to bear fruit. And this isn't the only way that it's hurting the American people economically. When we pay these government subsidies to these people for housing, for food, for whatever, if they come in and just go right on unemployment because there aren't any jobs, then all that money is coming from taxpayers. You who are working are going to pay for people to not work, millions and millions, and that bill is going to get higher and higher, either through literal taxation, the increase in your taxes, or from inflation, because we just print the money to give to them, which is going to hurt your bottom line anyways. So this is kind of interesting that they really came out and said it. I thought they would have ignored it a little bit. But I want people to understand that there's a direct connection between the amount of massive illegal immigration and the problems that are affecting the country. And people don't want to think that. They don't want to think the massive scale of the amount of people we're bringing in can have any drastic consequences that we can't just wish away. Because they think, they're going to come here and they're going to be so nice and they're going to participate actively. And the problem with that is some of them might and some of them won't. And you're damned if you do and you're damned if they don't. Because if they work, they're going to steal American jobs. If they don't, they're going to steal money through the government, your hard-earned tax dollars, or increase the amount of inflation. And so this is not a benefit to Americans in any way, shape, or form. Driving up housing costs, driving up the cost of any goods, the more people you have, the less piece of the pie you're going to get to have, the less representation you're going to have, whether that's voting, whether that's purchasing power. That's just the stark reality of the situation. And so hopefully economically people understand we have to stop this. We have to send these people back. We can't have them come in. It's not a benefit to America at all. And if you think this isn't going to affect your area, which is usually what most people believe is, they'll come in and they'll do what they say, the scut work. They'll do the jobs Americans don't want to do, which don't exist. And it'll actually have a benefit because I've been told by the media for the last couple of years that we need more people, not less. We need more. It doesn't matter who they are. You don't have to vet them. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you put them. We just need more people. And that's not true. We don't need more people because right now the average American is suffering. They can barely afford to survive. And economically, cutting in half their ability to take home pay is not going to actively help the average American, actually going to make things worse over time. So let's see if the Biden administration, really he's kind of just on vacation at this point, so really Kamala, if she can come out and defend this in any way, which I don't think she can, because what is she going to say? We're going to increase jobs with all these people? How? What are we going to do? How are we going to do anything fast enough to equal the amount of people you're bringing in. Even if you're bringing in 1 million people a year, you're not building 1 million homes every year. That's not happening in America. We're already having a housing shortage, and the prices are going up. You're not going to create 1 million jobs every year, every single year. It's not going to happen. And there's no way it's just going to be 1 million people, right? It's going to be tens of millions of people every single year from all over the world if Kamala wins. So any thought you had of retiring, any thought you had of buying a home is going to go completely out the window if this policy continues to happen. And people are not making this direct connection. They still seem to think that there's any benefit or any obligation for us to help these people. And there's not. They don't understand how refugee status works. You're supposed to go to the closest country that's stable, which is most of the countries in South America are stable that they can go to, and Mexico is, before you get to America. There's no reason for the government to be handing out massive subsidies that they don't give the American people. Housing, food, expensive food bills, sometimes more than the average American gets for their welfare when they're in between jobs or having some sort of actual crisis. They paid into the system, they need a little bit of help getting something from it. No, it's massive, the amount that the migrants are getting. And so where do we go from here? Because eventually we're going to run out of money completely. People are going to stop working. They're not going to have enough money to pay for these people. And what's the plan then? They say they're going to lock down the border, but they won't. So I don't know. This is all I've heard from this is this kind of stark revelation spoken pretty plainly before the media that the unemployment rate is directly being affected by the mass migration. And that is only one of the problems. Let's see over the next couple months before the election what else comes to light about how detrimental this is to our country. So thanks for watching. I'll keep you updated if there's anything else. And I really appreciate it. Leave a like, comment, subscribe if you can, and I'll catch you in the next one.